evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula 3 iRacing League. Today we're at Silverstone Circuit, round 7, Season 6. It's the British Grand Prix. As always, I'm your host, James East, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, as well as our great friends, LeagueZero.net. If you're looking to get in on the action, check out the website, join the Discord, and get out here with some world-famous drivers. And as always, thank you to the fans, friends, and family tuning in, supporting the league, supporting the drivers, as well as supporting the broadcast. Looks like qualifying is just about underway, and then we're going to get things started and ready to go here today. Looking forward to another great feature to open up the night, followed by a sprint race. As you can see, some drivers pulling over and getting ready to wrap up the qualifying session. Now, there was an absolute barn burner last week for those that tuned in. That was at Okayama for the Japanese Grand Prix, where we saw Max Wobbles bring home a win in the sprint. Finley Fitzsimmons brought home a win in the feature event. And Micah Barnett, though, still holds on to the championship lead with 143 points. He's about 6 points ahead of Reed Gibson. Gibson's got 137, while Fitzsimmons holds on to the third-place championship spot with 134 points. Those are the three drivers to keep an eye on, as then you have to go back to fourth and fifth place. Flo Dom's, Raymond Aguilar, they've got 86 and 83 points, respectively. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one shakes up. Looks like drivers are making their way out onto the grid. Starting on pole, Raymond Aguilar. Flo Dom starting second. Micah Barnett starts third. Josh Green starting fourth. Reed Gibson will be starting fifth. Justin Sang starts sixth. Finley Fitzsimmons starting seventh. Jared Ziegler starts eighth. Jared Davis starting ninth. Andrew Kessel starting 10th. We've got Ryan Tebow. He's starting 11th. Kevin Burrows starts 12th. Cycling it on back to Jake Duckwall. He's starting 13th. Antonio Bianchi starting 14th. Jaden Calloway starting 15th. Nick Peterson starts 16th. John Kasai starting 17th. Max Wobbles starting 18th. Jack Mundy starting 19th. Michael Fairchild starting 20th. Xavier Zanabe, the Flying Frenchman, starts 21st. Felipe Sarkis starting 22nd. Peter Rettinger starts 23rd. Felipe Ramos starting 24th. And let's cycle it back just one more time. There's David Schmidt starting 25th. And Ricardo Espino will round out the 26-car grid here today. Waiting for a few more drivers to make their way out onto the grid. Looks like the top 10 not taking the grid yet, so taking their time to get out there. Still waiting for the top 8 drivers to make the grid. Not sure. It's definitely taking them much longer than we were used to seeing in the past. There we go. There's Raymond Aguilar, your pole setter. Still waiting on Doms, Fitzsimmons, Ziegler, Burrows, Ramos, and Espino to take the grid. Surely they're getting close on time here. Still waiting on about 4 more drivers. Definitely running the full limit, the clock out here. Looks like the grid may be set. No, we're waiting on Ramos and Espino to take the grid. There's Espino. Ramos dangerously close to getting there. He is just barely making it onto the grid in time. And we will wait for the lights to turn on here at Silverstone and get things started for the opening feature event of the evening. And we are green flag racing. Aguilar with a spectacular launch in the purple number 72 machine. Keep an eye on Gibson. Ooh, right there in the meat grinder. He's starting 7th. Doms, though, has issues. He is off track early on. Able to keep it off, and we just saw another off track. I think that may have been Fitzsimmons and the number 1 machine. So already seeing some issues to start this race off. Josh Green making moves early on. He's up 2 spots. Flo Doms. And we get a report from Flo Doms. He's got no sound and no force feedback, so major hardware issues for Doms, who's currently tied for the most wins so far this season. Doms has 3 wins to his name. I believe the other driver, Barnett, also 3 wins. Yes, we get confirmation on that. Jack Mundy finds himself pointed the wrong direction. Let's get a replay queued up, see what happened to him here. Oh, Mundy loses the back end all on his lonesome. Thankfully, nobody else getting collected in that. Back up front, Raymond Aguilar has a comfortable 1 second gap over the rest of the field, up to 1.3 seconds over Josh Green. Green has a lot of company. There's Micah Barnett, Mr. Consistency, the number 59 machine, trying to make an outside move for 2nd place. Looks like he's going to make it happen here. Right behind you can see Gibson and Sang as well. That's a lot of talent stacked up in one spot. Aguilar's got to be happy with the side-by-side action he sees in the rear view. Every time Green and Barnett take those jabs, allowing the number 72 machine, your race leader, to pull an even more advantageous gap, as he does so now over 2 seconds. Oh, and there we go. Problems. Micah Barnett falls back to 5th. Justin Sang also tied up in that one. And what just happened there? Micah Barnett just can't catch a break in those 2 opening sequences. Jared Ziegler also off track. Let's get that replay queued up, because I think that's going to be a good one. Well, let's back that up. I think Barnett definitely had a little bit of help there. We're watching Barnett and the number 59 machine, trying to see who's alongside him. Looks like that may have been Gibson. Contact between the 2. Barnett definitely gets the worst end, because I think he's going to get, oh, you barely avoiding contact there. Oh, and then Barnett, unfortunately, a terrible rejoin. Puts him back off track, so the red mist definitely a factor. And look who's linked up on track. That's Philly Fitzsimmons and Reed Gibson. Now running 3rd and 4th. Aguilar and Green still maintaining the top 2 spots. We go a little bit further back. Justin Sang, Kevin Burrows, Ryan Tebow battling inside the top 10. The 8th place spot up for grabs. Burrows makes it happen, the number 23 machine. That's going to be his 4th spot gain so far. And it looks like Tebow trying to get in the mix as well here. Josh Green running 2nd, clicks off the fastest lap of the race at 152.5. Now he's got a little bit of clean track ahead of him to try and whittle away at Aguilar's advantage. Tebow in a very interesting spot here. Watching Burrows and Wobbles throw haymakers at each other. But he's got to be careful, as right behind you can see Peterson, Bianchi, Fairchild, Callaway, all trying to get a little bit further up in the standings here. Huge fan of Tebow's paint, and yes, I am biased since he is sporting the Team Goon Squad livery this season. And I've got to say, this is my favorite part about League Zero. It doesn't matter where you look out on track as we watch the battle for 12th. There's great racing to be found any which way. As Bianchi, Fairchild, and Callaway trying to find a way around Tebow, not having any luck. Nick Peterson in 11th has gained about a quarter of a second advantage with the freight train of drivers behind him. And keep an eye on that leaderboard. Josh Green whittling away the advantage Aguilar has, now down to 1.8 seconds. Oh, here comes Bianchi. He's going to try and make a move here. Bianchi side by side with Tebow. Will he secure that 12th place spot? It looks like he's going to. As right ahead, you see Max Wobbles and Nick Peterson back and forth. They are battling for the top 10 spot now. And now Fitzsimmons answers with the fastest lap of the race on 151.87. Fitzsimmons is absolutely flying here. Fitzsimmons 8/10 back from second place Green. But he's got to be careful as every point matters here in this championship. As we saw last year, separated by 1 point coming to the final round. Jaden Callaway, John Kasai side by side battling for 15th. Wobbles and Peterson still having their own battle in 10th. Oh, and a very intense battle it is as well. Oh, those two drivers almost glued to each other. Peterson off track. There goes Bianchi. Aiming to capitalize. Ryan Tebow also in the mix. Now, as a reminder to our new fans, it's an inverted top 12 grid for the sprint race where we cap off the evening. So if you can finish 12th in this event, that means you'll be in the very top spot for the sprint race where it's half the laps, twice the action. Bianchi and Peterson side by side. Tebow, Fairchild, Callaway right behind. As it looks like Tebow's going to slide a little bit further up in the standings. Peterson's starting to fall off here slightly as he loses the spot now to Fairchild, who throws it up the inside line. Oh, look at that. Peterson dancing the back end around, trying to put the power down as quick as he can. He's got his teammate John Kasai not too far behind in that number 3 machine. And now Micah Barnett charging back to the field. He's made his way around Ramos. He's still down 14 positions where he started. But Barnett knows a race win most likely out of reach here, barring some sort of catastrophe amongst the other drivers. But he is your current championship contender with the most points so far this season. And now he's going into damage control mode. Just needs to focus on hitting his marks, picking up the passes where they present themselves, and try and get himself in the best position for the sprint race yet to come. Go a little bit further ahead, back to, oh no, I take it back, Michael Fairchild. Finds himself off track. Let's see what happens to the number 88 machine. Oh, does he get help here? Oh, almost looks like he tapped the brakes a little bit hard to avoid getting to the back of, I believe that may have been Callaway. No, that was either Peterson or Kasai, I believe, the two teammates. Render, the Austrian, trying to track down Ramos, the number 73. Render's up 5 spots. Ramos up 7 positions gained so far. And for the first time this race, the gap separating race leader Aguilar and Josh Green less than a second amongst the two. As we watch Felipe Ramos, John Kasai battling out. Ramos the inside line, the bright purple 73. Kasai the predominantly white and red number 3 machine. Now Micah Barnett comes down pit road. A very early pit stop. I'm wondering, he must surely have some sort of damage on that machine. Checking back in on race leader Raymond Aguilar. Still holding about 1.1 seconds up over Green. Green 3/4 of a second ahead of Fitzsimmons. Now I'm interested to see if Fitzsimmons and Green can link up. Will they work together to try and track down Aguilar? I don't think Fitzsimmons is going to try and race the two drivers too aggressively ahead of him. He's got almost a 2-second gap over Reed Gibson in fourth. Another constant championship contender. Fitzsimmons closing the gap now to Green. I wonder if that draft's helping out the number 1 machine a little bit. Whittled it down to 6/10. Great racing all across the circuit today. Here's Max Wobbles, Ryan Tebow battling for the top 10 spot. Tebow briefly takes it over the number 27. No, excuse me, Wobbles clears himself and gets things going. Tebow wants to keep that momentum. You can see Bianchi, Peterson, Callaway right behind. Momentum absolutely crucial here at Silverstone. Takes a fair bit of track to get that momentum built back up. And if you find yourself having to drive defensively with the elbows out, just about impossible to make any forward momentum, having to defend just about constantly here. But here comes Tebow, another big run, looks to the inside line of Wobbles. Oh, it looked like there could have been a little bit of contact there, very narrowly avoiding heartbreak for the two drivers. Battling for the 10th place spot, Wobbles will hold on to it, quickly gains about a half-second advantage once more over Tebow. And now Bianchi and friends definitely closing the gap. The draft absolutely in play here. And let's pan the camera back up front to Josh Green. Fitzsimmons has closed the gap. And there we go. Unfortunately, Dom's confirming the heartbreak in the spectator area after his hardware malfunction. No audio, no force feedback. Makes for just about an impossible car to drive here. Justin Sang down pit road. Well, what's going to happen? Are we going to see Fitzsimmons and Green duke it out for the 2nd place spot? Or is Fitzsimmons going to be patient, just following that number 22 machine around? Kasai also coming down pit road. I would say it would be a little bit uncharacteristic of Fitzsimmons to just follow here and not press the issue, but maybe the young British driver and your defending champion focusing a bit more on racecraft this season and knowing how important just a couple of points can be. I mean, if he's going to make a move, surely it'll be after a big draft section, but it looks to me like he may be content just following along here as you're currently on board with Finley Fitzsimmons. A fantastic camera angle showing just how fast they're flicking these cars through the back portion of the raceway. Oh, here we go. Fitzsimmons hops out of the draft, the inside line. Taking over the 2nd place position. Looked like Green didn't want to press the issue too much here as well. Maybe knowing that this is the break that Aguilar was really looking for. Let's go back to the meat grinder that is just outside the top 12. You've got Peterson, Bianchi, Wobbles, Tebow, Callaway all in the fray a little bit further back. Ramos and Redinger have a battle. Zanave and Mundy having their own battle. There's great racing all across the track here, the British Grand Prix. Trying to see what happened to Redinger there that landed himself with an off track. Oh, look at the curbing. Reach out and grab him. Another one. 3 huge curb hits for Redinger. And I think he might have a little bit of damage here. Here's Jack Mundy, Xavier Zanabi battling for the 15th place spot. Mundy worked the inside advantage. Zanabe trying to carry just a little bit more speed here. But I think Mundy with the defense going to be able to hold on to it. Back to race leader Raymond Aguilar. A 1.05 second advantage over Fitzsimmons and Green, who remain linked up. Nose to gearbox. Oh, that's a great shot. You can also see 4th place Reed Gibson hanging back in the number 11 machine. All of these drivers into the low 152, so the pace just about equal across the board here. More problems at the back. Looks like Ryan Tebow and Max Wobbles had some sort of incident here. Focus in on Tebow, the number 27 machine. Oh, I think Tebow just got into, I think he got into the back of Wobbles. Unfortunately, Tebow's going to take a tow back to pit road. He is done and out of this event. Max Wobbles drives down pit road. As a reminder, if any drivers take a tow during the session, they are considered out. So they will have to wait till the sprint race to get back up in the fray. And what just happened to Josh Green? The number 22 machine falls quickly back to 4th. Not quite sure if there's a little bit of net code there or what the issue may have been, but very uncharacteristic for Green and that number 22 machine. Still the racing continues. You're watching Jared Davis, Jared Ziegler battling for 5th. 2 Jareds, very different spelling between the two. Looks like Ziegler's going to come out on top here. And pulling a massive gap, 0.8 of a second over the now 6th place 26 machine. Further back, you've got Jack Mundy trying to pressure Felipe Ramos for the 12th place spot. Mundy, the number 14 machine. Ramos, the 73. Ramos having a great race. He's up 12 positions gained so far. That puts him as the hard charger so far of the evening. As the top 5 well and stretched out here. Plenty of room and plenty of clean racetrack. Mundy looks to the inside. Ramos shuts the door. A little bit further back, you can see Zanave, Duckwall, Sarkis running 14th through 16th. Aguilar clicks off a 152.11. Looks like he is tied for fastest lap with Mr. Josh Green. As you watch Mundy take over the 12th place spot, We touched on earlier, a great spot to be in. That means you'll be in pole position for the sprint race. If you lock up 12th, getting some points and a great starting position. I think Ramos, though, going to answer the call. Tucking in behind Mundy, you can see Zanave and Duckwall working together as well, trying to piggyback off of each other's draft. Still have 22 of the 26 entries out on track. Wobbles, Tebow, Barnett, and Doms all forced into an early retirement. We've got world-famous Gareth McAllister here. He's cheering on Finley Fitzsimmons, currently running second out on track. Looks like Zanave picks up the spot. No, it's Duckwall makes a move on Zanave. Duckwall put that number 99 machine back into 14th. Justin Sang, Michael Fairchild battling for 17th. It's the 88 of Fairchild, the 68 of Sang. Sang involved in that early incident, having to fight his way back up towards the front. And it's going to be a 3-car rodeo with Sarkis, Fairchild, Sang, separated by less than 0.6 of a second. Running 16th through 18th out on track here. Who's going to be the first one to hop out of line, try and press the advantage? So everybody's staying in formation. There's Sarkis, the number 4, Fairchild, the 88. Sang, the 68. And we got a report as well from McAllister, who is out of town, I believe, on a skiing vacation. He's cheering for David Schmidt in that 54, the fill-in driver for McAllister. As Fairchild making some moves here, taking over the 16th place spot. Leaving Sarkis and Sang to battle behind. Sang also moving up. Ooh, Jack Mundy having some sort of connection issues out on track. As there's Felipe Ramos, Jake Duckwall, running 13th and 14th. The two closest drivers out on track is, ooh, we saw smoke up from ahead. Duckwall took over the 13th place spot, but it looked like Ramos was going to fire back just about immediately there. As the field still hunting around, looking for opportunities, the places they can try and make something happen. Duckwall pulling about a half second over Ramos here. Ramos trying not to lose the draft at the 99 machine. Helping to pull that 73 a little bit further forward, but gotta give Ramos credit. Still up 10 spots in this main feature event of the evening. Not quite to the halfway mark. Josh Green, Jared Davis, both down pit road together. Andrew Kessel also joining the pit road party. Here comes Nick Peterson, Antonio Bianchi, Jaden Calloway. So a lot of drivers opting to come down pit road here. A bit of an undercut, looking for some clean track. Felipe Ramos comes down pit road, Felipe Sarkis. The top 5 of Aguilar, Fitzsimmons, Gibson, Ziegler, and Burrows opting to stay a little bit longer. Fitzsimmons closing the gap now to Aguilar, the race leader. Down to a half second, separating the two. Josh Green, Jack Mundy, very long pit stops, almost 8 seconds each. I wonder if they were trying to get some optionals repaired at that time. As we watch Fitzsimmons watching what Aguilar is doing. Felipe Ramos parked in a very precarious position in the number 73. Just odd crash. Looks like he's losing the back end there. And does it the second time. I wonder if Ramos had a mechanical there. Very odd crash there for the Brazilian driver. Peterson and Bianchi having a battle for 14th. Both drivers have already come down pit road. Here's the number 24, Bianchi the 17. More drivers down pit road. Ziegler, Burrows, Fitzsimmons, Aguilar, Gibson, Mundy. Aguilar back out. Fitzsimmons a little bit less than a half second behind. That's only going to leave, I believe, 2 drivers who have yet to come down pit road. I take it back. Ricardo Espino down pit road, so that just leaves David Schmidt. He's going to come down pit road, his one stop of the night. Now, we are not to the halfway mark yet, so I'm wondering how drivers are going to be on fuel here. If 15 laps is the longest we've seen anybody stay out for. We have seen races where drivers have been able to stay out on 1 tank of fuel in a feature event. I have not seen a feature event where it's 2 scheduled stops before, so we may have a first if drivers are looking wary to make it till the end. Mundy and Kasai side by side for 13th. Tebow let us know it may very well be a 2-stop race here. Something I don't think I've seen here at League Zero before. But I wonder if that's what Fitzsimmons is doing behind Aguilar. Maybe using that race leader, the 72 machine, to push the wind as Fitzsimmons sits nice and tidy right behind. Just try and stretch out on fuel a little bit more. I'm going to be intrigued to see how this one happens. Kasai and Mundy having no plans of fuel saving amongst themselves as they continue this battle for 13th. Kasai is up. Looks to be, well, now 3 spots as Mundy fires back. Mundy up 6 spots, but these two just absolutely going at it here. Excellent racing going on between these two. Just further ahead, I believe that's going to be Peterson and Bianchi doing about the same here. Bianchi, the all-purple number 17. Peterson, that signature white, red, and yellow number 24. There's Bianchi up the inside line, taking over the top 10 position. And let's pan that camera angle up front. Fitzsimmons briefly closed that gap to less than 2/10 behind race leader Aguilar, and then backed out of it. I'm curious. If I was Fitzsimmons, would you try and save fuel behind the race leader to try and eliminate that second stop? Let us know in the spectator what you think the strategy is going to be here. We had Tebow letting us know that, hey, this is looking like a two-stop race. But Fitzsimmons might be trying something. Let's see if we can go on board with Fitzsimmons. And we'll let the fans decide, does it sound like fuel saving to you? Tough to say. It looks like Fitzsimmons still very much on the gas here. But Aguilar knows he can't do much fuel saving himself, not slowing down, not wanting Fitzsimmons to take over the race lead here. We've got Tebow asking, has everyone boxed already this race? Yes, they have, but keep an eye out on drivers. Justin Sang in 8th and John Kasai in 14th. Those two drivers came down pit road on lap 7. So a very different strategy for those guys. As we've got a 3-car battle for 6 shaping up. That's Jared Davis, Justin Sang, Kevin Burrows. Well done to Sang, fighting his way back up towards the front here. He was down, I believe, over 12 positions at one point. As up front, oh, just in time. The race leader separated by less than a tenth. I thought Fitzsimmons was going to set up for a pass here. Falls back in line behind Aguilar. Another big thumbs up to Aguilar and his teammate Bianchi, sporting the Team Goon Squad logo behind the helmets in the car. Much appreciate those guys. There's no contingency packages here for League Zero as far as required graphics. So guys such as Aguilar, such as Bianchi, Fitzsimmons, normally McAllister, Ryan Tebow, those are guys all representing and helping out the Team Goon Squad name just on their own accord. So big thanks to those guys. As one of those drivers, Fitzsimmons, looks like he wants the race lead, works the outside line against Aguilar. And now it's going to be Aguilar's turn to maybe do a little bit of fuel saving behind that number 1 machine. The pace really hasn't slowed down much here. A half second to 7/10 is running slower than their fastest laps of the race. As Fitzsimmons and Aguilar are still linked up. Now the roles reversed, but they are 3.3 seconds ahead of Gibson back in 3rd. We've got the rear camera of Fitzsimmons out on screen. There's Aguilar 6/10 now behind. John Kasai takes over the 13th place spot from Mundy. Mundy had a little bit of a bobble there, falls back to about 3/4 of a second. Tebow, another good question, asking, this may be one of the first feature events that I've ever seen where drivers may be worth taking tires. As we are on board with Kasai, the propane man himself. Let's go a little bit further back to Michael Fairchild. Is getting set up for a draft pass on Zanave. In the battle for 15th, looks like Fairchild's going to make it happen here. He's once again up 5 spots. A driver that has really grown as a racer in the past few seasons. Great seeing Fairchild out on track, continuously getting faster and more consistent. Let's go back up front. Aguilar's closed the gap to Fitzsimmons, now down to 3/10. That's called about 4/10. You can see Gibson behind. He's gained a lot of ground now, 2.6 seconds. But Gibson, going to be the first driver that comes down pit road for a second stop here. We're going to keep an eye out on that pit road. Get the camera pointed over to Gibson. Is he going to take tires here? As Justin saying, Kevin Burrows also down pit road. In all my years of calling the action here at League Zero, I have not seen a scheduled second stop in a feature or one where drivers take tires. Gibson in and out very quick. He will not be taking tires. Just enough fuel to make it till the end. Is anyone going to opt for tires? Is the time penalty worth it? So far, no. Everybody just taking fuel on this stop. So now the $1 million question, the possible race deciding question. Will Fitzsimmons and Aguilar try and fuel save to make it to the end? Here's Reed Gibson, Andrew Kessel battling out for 6th. Gibson, the first driver to come down pit road with that call of, hey, we're going to make it 2 stops, and then we're good to go to the end. Aguilar keeping the pressure on Fitzsimmons. Maybe now with the majority of the field coming down, not majority, a handful of the field coming down pit road for a second stop. Maybe they're going to be more likely to wick it up. Build up a gap before they too come down pit road for fuel. And McAllister let us know the curbing that we've seen drivers bounce across can 100% damage the undercarriage and cause drivers to receive a meatball flag where they have to come down pit road and get those repairs dialed in. Jaden Calloway, Justin Sang battling for 12th. Sang makes it happen. Josh Green passes Jared Ziegler. He's back up into 3rd. There's the battle for the final podium spot. It's Green versus Ziegler. Green came in on lap 13, Ziegler lap 14. Surely there's no way Green's just that ripping fast and saving any sort of fuel. He's got to be all gas at this point as he is fighting his way back up into a possibility of some major points here. And we've got a battle for the lead. Aguilar and Fitzsimmons back at it. Fitzsimmons defends the inside line. Aguilar goes for a high-low, but loses a little bit of steam there. Both drivers stay out a little while longer. And it's going to be 10 laps left to go as they cross the line here at Silverstone. Now, I do believe it's very interesting. Aguilar Green still tied for fastest lap. Their fastest lap of the race was a 152.11. Fitzsimmons down to a 151.87. But all three drivers running very similar lap times that last time by. Jaden Calloway comes down pit road for his second stop in the 37. Fitzsimmons doing whatever he can to hold on to that race lead. Because with Gibson in third, that's going to help out both of their points championships, especially with Micah Barnett, the early retirement here at Silverstone. Ramos down pit road, entering his pit stall. So far, it looks like nobody has opted for tires, just fuel. Now I'm curious to see if Aguilar may be doing a fuel saving as he's dancing that wheel to keep traction down. And as Tebow was letting us know in the chat, tire wear very, very aggressive here tonight. Wow, look how deep Aguilar goes on the brakes, maybe a little bit too deep as he loses his drive out of the corner. Fitzsimmons extends that gap to almost a full second now. I thought Aguilar was doing something miraculous. I think he may have just overcooked it on the brakes there a bit. Here's the battle for 8th, Antonio Bianchi, Nick Peterson. Bianchi hold on to the 8th place spot. Waiting to see if Peterson's going to try something here. He's got the pace to keep fighting with the Bianchi. But it looks like Bianchi can extend that gap ever so slightly. Let's check back in on race leader Fitzsimmons. A 1 almost 2 second gap. So I think Aguilar's lost the draft. And combined with fuel saving, I think Fitzsimmons is going to try and keep the hammer down as long as he can. Build up a gap. Because you can lose almost 36 seconds on pit road. But Josh Green sitting in third, the number 22. He has yet to come down for a second stop either. And he's going to be 1 lap shorter on fuel than Fitzsimmons and Aguilar, running first and second here. The field's getting pretty well spread apart. Unless we go fairly far back to John Kasai and Jaden Calloway, they're having their own battle for 16th now. About 12 seconds back from Sarkis in 15th. Is Callaway going to be able to make a move here in that 37? As he bides his time behind Kasai. As it looks like Peterson catching back up to Bianchi. Takes a look at the inside line, hops out of the draft. Is Peterson able to lock onto it? I thought Bianchi was going to carry a little bit more corner speed, but oh, there we go. Peterson blocks the way. Bianchi says, you know what? Now's a good time for pit road. Hard on the brakes goes Bianchi onto the commitment cones. Fitzsimmons a 1.5 second gap over Aguilar. Both drivers still only on a one-stop call so far. I'm very interested to see your top 5 drivers on a one-stop strategy so far. Reed Gibson in 6th. He was one of the first drivers to come down pit road for a second stop relatively early on lap 19. Fitzsimmons still hard on the gas, 2.3 seconds up from Aguilar. Aguilar almost 9 seconds ahead of Josh Green. Wondering with 6 laps left to go, are we going to see a fuel mileage race here? Last time by, Fitzsimmons still on his normal pace, a 152.05. Aguilar a 152.44. So I'm not seeing too much fuel saving being done from any of these drivers. Taking wagers from the fans here. What do you think is going to happen? Are they going to try and stretch it on fuel? Or are they holding down the skinny pedal, to build up that gap? Fitzsimmons stays out for yet another lap. Looks like Aguilar comes down pit road. What about Josh Green sitting in 3rd? Green also down pit road. Aguilar had one more lap of fuel in his car than Green. So Fitzsimmons has got to be getting short here. All eyes on Fitzsimmons, Davis, Kessel, Mundy, all down pit road for their second stop. Fitzsimmons and Ziegler still on a one-stop strategy, as well as Nick Peterson holding on to 6th. Interesting. I think this is the first feature event where I've ever seen a 2-stop race. Andrew Kessel in pit road for a long time. 43, 44, 45 seconds and counting. It looks like he must have got a pit road penalty. I did not see that car up in the air taking tires. Ryan Tebow saying for sure a two-stopper. As first and second, Fitzsimmons and Ziegler yet to come down pit road their second time of the night. Here's Antonio Bianchi, Jared Davis battling for ninth. Four laps left to go. We're waiting to see when the top two drivers will come down pit road or see if anybody can make this a one-stop race. The latest pit stop we saw from all the drivers was 14 laps. So that means Fitzsimmons has got to be short on fuel if he's on the same strategy. Nick Peterson, who's in sixth, he's down pit road, his second stop of the evening. There's Fitzsimmons 13 seconds ahead of Ziegler. But keep an eye out on both Aguilar in third and Green in fourth. Both already completed their second stop. Fitzsimmons has a half lap more to go here. Surely he has to come down pit road this time by. If he is staying true to what we've seen on his pit cycle strategy thus far. There's your race leader, Fitzsimmons, down pit road for what should be the final time. And we've got a poll up on YouTube. Let us know, are you a fan of the two-stop strategy race? Or do you prefer watching the one-stoppers? As let's see how this shakes things up. There's Raymond Aguilar, the number 72 machine. Fitzsimmons out of his pit stall in 4.8 seconds. Just taking fuel on this one. Where are they going to be at out on track? As here comes Aguilar. Looks like Aguilar waiting for the times to settle down. About 1.2 seconds back from Fitzsimmons. Still very much in striking distance, but Aguilar a bit of a bobble there. Going to cost him a few precious tenths of a second. I think now you're seeing drivers really fighting the tire wear. As it's Fitzsimmons, Aguilar, Gibson, 1, 2, 3, all completing those second stops. Right now, the fans liking the two-stop races a little bit more as we see Fairchild and Zanave on their second stops of the night. Fitzsimmons holding on to a 1.6 second advantage. Still, despite the two-stop race, seeing everybody opting for just fuel, not going for tires. And from what drivers are saying, it was easy to have a tire down to 60% wear 15 laps in, doing well over double that. So I'm curious to see what the top three drivers in the interviews are going to say as far as car handling goes once this is all wrapped up. Bianchi and Davis still battling out on track. This is the battle for 8th. Bianchi up 6 spots. Davis running 9th, exactly where he qualified. Andrew Kessel facing an off-track excursion. And that number 97 machine looked like a little bit too much curbing, and around he goes. Very carefully rejoining. Well done. I think that was Rettinger. Yes, it was. Picking up the 17th place spot. Davis doing a great job keeping the pressure on Bianchi here. Oh, a big blink from the Italian stallion himself, the number 17 machine. And just like that, Davis right back in the hunt. Nose to gearbox. Davis going to take a peek to the left side of Bianchi. And Davis fights for the 8th place spot. Can Bianchi carry a little bit more corner speed? No, it looks like Davis going to lock it in here. Going very, very defensive. Davis holding on to about a quarter of a second gap over Bianchi. Not many laps left to try and make something happen as Bianchi's going to fire back around the outside. A very swooping line here. Can he keep on the throttle? No, he gets pinched slightly from Davis. Tries once more. Oh, look at that beautiful high-low move from Bianchi back to back. Bianchi's got the drive. He's got the preferred line on the inside. A beautiful setup there from Bianchi, the all-purple number 17 machine, allowing him to take back over the 8th place spot. But did he show his cards a little bit too early here? As Fitzsimmons will be taking the white flag this time by about a half a lap left to go. Oh, a big lock up there from Bianchi. Davis, that Motul back number 26 machine, looking for an opening. You can just see Nick Peterson. He's about 1.4 seconds back from this battle. Here we go. Davis and Bianchi side by side once again. I want to find that replay of Bianchi. That was a textbook maneuver, allowing him to take over the 8th place spot. And he's in his preferred spot where he gets to defend while simultaneously trying to focus on the marks ahead of him here. White flag is out for Fitzsimmons, your race leader. It's still Fitzsimmons, Aguilar, Gibson. First, second, and third. Everybody good to go on fuel at this point. Does not look like any driver is going to attempt a one-stop race. Everybody has completed 2 so far that is still out on track. Bianchi definitely in a defensive mind state here. Wanting to hold on to that 8th place position, maximize the points for his team. And I'd say he's doing a fantastic job of it as we've got a half lap left to go. We pan back to Fitzsimmons, 1.7 seconds up from Aguilar, 8 seconds ahead of Gibson. And as a reminder, coming to this race, it was Barnett, Gibson, and Fitzsimmons. First, second, and third in the points championship. This could be a massive moment for Fitzsimmons as we unfurl the checkered flag held by Barney at the start-finish line. A little bit of lap traffic there for Fitzsimmons. But the checkered flag will fly here at Silverstone. And Fitzsimmons picks up his third win of the season, tying with Micah Barnett and Flo Doms for the most amount of wins. Raymond Aguilar will lock up second, and Reed Gibson will round out the top three. What happened here? Jared Davis goes off track with Antonio Bianchi. Oh, what was that? Look at him go, ladies and gentlemen. And if that's not highlight of the week, I don't know what is. Once more for the fans at home, an absolutely violent crash between Davis and Bianchi. Looked like, I can't tell if Davis misjudged, maybe missed his brake mark. But an absolute wild ride. Should have sold advertising space on the bottom of that machine before he comes to an absolute screeching halt. Bianchi was able to get fired back up. And he will bring home a 9th place position. We're going to wait for our top 3 drivers to get up here to victory lane. As we wait for a couple of stragglers here before we get the podium interview started. We've got Fitzsimmons, we've got Aguilar, and it looks like the gang is all here. We will get things going. Up first, we got Reed Gibson, the number 11 machine. Reed, a solid night, all things considered. Still a solid third, up 2 spots from where you qualified, and definitely not the average qualifying position we've seen from you in the past.
Yeah, qualifying just didn't quite work out. I felt like I had a little pace in the bag, and I just couldn't put it together. So I'm so happy with the lap time I put down. It was pretty tight.
Now, Reed, with you being one of the first drivers to decide, yes, I'm for sure taking a second stop, came in relatively early on lap 19. Do you think that helped or hindered how the rest of the race went, knowing you're going to have to be out there for a long time after that second stop?
I think it worked for my strategy. I committed early on to taking tires. In my testing, I didn't think I could make it on the tires, and it seems like most people, or some people, were able to. So that might have been the wrong choice, but it got me out of traffic, and I was able to just run laps without anyone in front of me, and my pace was pretty rock steady. So I'm happy with the strategy choice.
Well, very consistent. The points chase continue to tighten up here. And before I let you go and get ready for this action-packed sprint race, which I'm sure is going to be exciting for everybody, who would you like to give a shout to that made this third possible for you?
Oh yeah, so shout out to my teammate Justin. He did a good job. And then special apologies to Michael Barnett. I think we got tangled up in a little bit of a racing incident at the start there, and I feel bad. I know he's in the hunt, and you never want to see that happen, but sometimes it does. So again, apologies. I hope to see him back next week, and he'll bounce back.
Awesome. Reed, always a pleasure, my friend, and good luck in this sprint race.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir. That was Reed Gibson bringing it home in third for the feature event. Up next, we've got no stranger to the interview booth. Ray Aguilar, welcome back. A good solid second, and great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I came out with pole position, second place. I was trying to be as conservative and clean as possible, and I'm pretty happy with how I drove.
Now, Silverstone, a lap, you've had tons of practice on it before in seasons past and practice sessions, but what do you think about the two-stop strategy we found ourselves in here tonight?
It's fun. I was hoping you guys were watching it up in the booth because I was keeping an eye on Reed and everybody else because at one point I thought, oh man, me and Finley we fought a little bit and we've lost some time and he's caught us. I thought he had us. I don't know what happened. When I came out, he was 8 seconds back, so something happened to him.
And Ray, you're more informed than I am. Correct me if I'm wrong. I was just told there's no sprint race tonight. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Yep, we're just doing this one long 1 hour race.
So that makes way more sense why the race was longer for me. I was very confused and thought we had another Bianchi situation where in the past we've seen races short, and I thought it was the opposite this go around. So my mind is blown up here in the booth. So, I mean, second overall for the night, no stress of a sprint race. You've got to be feeling good here.
Yeah, we're getting ready to load the trailer up. We're happy with the result. I couldn't be more pleased with the cleanliness of it tonight too. Everybody kind of stayed on their toes. You had a better view of the mid pack than I did, but everybody seemed to be fairly clean throughout the race.
Yeah, I mean, there's great racing all across the track, and thankfully you guys up front kept it very clean. And there's a few moments now. We saw some back and forth between you and Fitzsimmons. Was that a bit of fuel saving cat and mouse going on, or what were you guys doing?
To be honest, some of it was I was trying to get next to him just so I could feather the throttle and let him know, like, hey, I'm trying to play ball here. I was trying to do some fuel saving, and I was really watching that gap to Reed, and I was trying to get him to not, fight back and forth so we wouldn't slow down. But I don't think the message got across until the very end. We'd already lost a bunch of time.
Classic. Well, Ray, always a great time talking to you, buddy. Good to have you back up here. Very solid second. And before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen?
I definitely have to point out Cracker Barrel. They hooked it up tonight, and I don't think I would have had the actual talent and energy I needed tonight to get this done. It's been a long time coming, and there they are. Avanti, Track Limit Racing, and of course, my lovely wife and Team Goon Squad.
Awesome. Ray, always a pleasure, man. Good luck next week, and hope to have you back up here.
Yep. Thanks, James.
Yes, sir. That was Raymond Aguilar bringing it home in second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Finley Fitzsimmons, the number one plate, back on top. Got to be happy with this one. Only one race, capitalizing at the very pointy end of the podium. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, there's big points in the championship, you're right, but it was such a tough race. Like, Reed's strategy, he almost threw me off. I was going to pit just to cover him off when he pit early the second time because I thought he was going to be so quick on the new tyres. But of all people, Jack Mundy convinced me to stay out, and it ended up being the right strategy.
Yeah, classic Jack. A very late pit stop to lap 28. And Finley, we haven't asked the other drivers, but what we were hearing from the spectators and the drivers who had to go to the infield care center was the tire wear very, very tough out on track. Were you running that as well towards the end of that stint?
Yeah, my front tires got very low. I think I was down to 31%, but really you didn't lose any pace. It just got more sketchy as the stint went on. But if you can hold it together, like, it's worth not taking fresh tires. So
Now,
you just lose time from the pit.
I was going to ask, did you think anybody was going to take tires in this one?
It was borderline. I didn't quite know because my tires during my my race in practice, they were so much lower. So I was just gonna kind of gauge it after the first stop. But I definitely thought some people would try it because it was, it kind of worked in Spa for some people. So I thought it might happen again. As it turned out, Reed did stop the tires and he underfueled for the first stop. But yeah, the tire wear was definitely there, and yeah, a couple brake bias changes managed to solve it near the end, but he definitely got close.
Well, Finley, a great race between you and so many heavy contenders up front. This is definitely going to close up the points. I believe it's going to put you ahead of Gibson. I don't know if it's going to have you taking over the entire points lead from Micah Barnett, but it's got to be close after such a commanding finish here at Silverstone.
Yeah, Micah didn't finish this race, so we won't get any points. So I think that might put me out in front, but I think we're only halfway through the season, and we know what happened last time when I was almost, I think I want to say 100 points down on Reed, and I was aiming for second in the championship at that point. I never thought I could make it back, but by some miracle I did. So yeah, I think that just proves that anything can happen at this stage, and I shouldn't take anything for granted.
Well, consistency wins championships. Finley, good to have you up here in the top spot. No stranger, but you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen for you?
Thank you, James. It's a pleasure. Of course, as always, you and the broadcast booth, James, for putting on a brilliant broadcast. We always watch them back. We always enjoy them. Antonio for setting up this league, and all the stewards as well for keeping it, and the race control as well, Joseph, for policing everything. I mean, sure, everyone's in check, putting on a great show. Also, all the drivers as well. Everyone had a really clean race. There was no safety cars, and there weren't many incidents either. Thanks to Raymond as well for putting on a great fight. He definitely kept me on my I forgot the word for it. My brain's just gone blank.
Toes?
Yeah, kept me on my toes. That's it. He definitely kept me on my toes the whole race and kept me thinking. Yeah, thanks for everybody for putting on a great show. I had
Well,
a lot
Finley,
of fun tonight.
yeah, always a pleasure. A lot of great racing on track, and hope to have you back up here next week, my friend.
Thank you, James. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. That was Philly Fitzsimmons finishing the top spot, accompanied by Raymond Aguilar finishing second and Reed Gibson finishing third. Great racing, the longer format Silverstone, and as you heard in the broadcast, no sprint race, just a longer feature event here tonight. So on behalf of LeagueZero.net, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.